ressenti partout.
The mainstream media is the land of wizardry.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today is just like the fear mongering of the mainstream media and just and they constantly it's they're, I understand they're trying to get as many eyeballs on their networks as possible. I understand the game, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Because they go for like this sensationalized takes or completely taking beat. Like that's why I really been enjoying the president's daily press conferences because yes, and I make sure that I watch the whole thing. Even I watch the whole thing. Whatever I'm doing, I stop to make sure and watch those live because I know that that's live, and even though that they could easily go back and take things out of context, which they have, which they have.
Yeah.
But if I watch it live, then I know what actually happened, and I know the context. Um, it's been great, and I think the president's been very has been doing a good job in kind of easing people's minds, giving people a little bit of a little peace of mind, a little bit of optimism.
He's been serious but optimistic.
Right. He's not saying like, oh, like, and I'm gonna bring this up a little bit later, but he's just saying like, hey, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get this through together. We have a lot of we have a lot of things. We have a lot of arrows in our quiver. Is basically I would say it was a reasonable interpretation of what he was saying. It's like talking about working with governors and making sure and having encouraging companies to switch up their production and get behind making ventilators or masks or what have you, completely on their own and not necessarily having to invoke the War Times Production Act. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, so in that on that record, I think the president's been doing a good job. But of course, the mainstream media, yeah, and then of course the mainstream media is during those press conferences, that they're there and they're asking questions, and some of the questions are just completely off base, or they push Trump into basically try to get a soundbite. I remember one of the earlier ones. I forget Peter something or other from NBC, and he was the president was talking about this drug, hydroxychloroquine, which has been around since like the 40s. So it's not and it's a malaria drug, and it's been around for 80 years almost. And so it's not a new. It's not a new drug. It's a known quantity, and there's been anecdotal evidence that it has been, it's been able to treat the virus, and the results have been positive. But he comes in and it's just like, oh, like, don't you think you're giving people false hope by saying this? But the president didn't say that. It's like, oh, here's this drug that we know that it's used for this one thing, but we could use it for the other thing, for this thing.
Yeah,
and what I hear, it's good. I've been hearing good things, and I'm just saying that, hey, let's just try it out, see what happens.
He didn't say it was some like miracle cure that's like, oh yeah, if we just take this, we'll all be fine. He didn't say that. He just says like, we're working on some stuff. We found there's the hydroxychloroquine, which has been used for other things in the past, and we've been kind of doing some testing with that, and we're seeing some interesting results that might be something worth looking into, and that's good news. It's not saying it's like we don't have a prayer, we have nothing. It's like he can't say that obviously, and I don't think he's to be honest, I don't think he's bullshitting. It's like, yeah, we're I'm being told that like there's some positive results with this, and we're gonna keep working on that. And yeah, that's good news. That's something to be like, hey, maybe we're on the verge of creating something that's gonna help, kind of help get rid of this thing, or at least have a some sort of vaccine for it. But of course, it's like you can't have any sort. Trump can't have any sort of win, and I look. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but you have Trump, you have Donald Trump, our president, and everyone's really lauding like how great Andrew Cuomo is acting during this time, the governor of New York.
Mhm.
Um, and the thing is, they're saying the same fucking thing. But yeah, it's so you had that reporter that's talking about like, are you providing false hope after like really like a lot of disgusting questions that he'd been asking, and then you have some you know dimwits that are taking a completely different uh, chemical strain that it just happens to have like happens to have uh, some of the some of the same
Right. It
things that you
was
find in
yeah, there was
hydroxychloroquine.
a Arizona couple who took fish cleaner essentially because
Yeah,
one of the ingredients, I think some sort of additive or preservative, it said on the package chloroquine. And
but it's like a phosphate, so it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's not fit for human consumption. It'll kill you.
right. And so yeah, and so they saw that, and they heard, and they may, they maybe they heard something on the news that the president said about chloroquine, but not, chloroquine phosphate. And they took it, and
Huh?
the sadly the man died, and the woman, survived. But like the headlines that came out the next day were like, oh, couple takes, well, here's the misleading part, because they labeled it, they're saying that it was the actual drug that the president mentioned. It's like, oh, couple takes recommended medication, prescribed by the president or whatever. But that was, if you take 3 seconds and dig a little deeper, you'll find out the truth. You'll find out the truth. And it was, and of course that you would say like, oh, maybe it was just, there was just them trying to sensationalize, trying to get people. Like, that was a straight up lie in the headline. That was a straight up lie. How can you defend the media saying, lying to you like that? It's like, battered wife syndrome. It's like, oh, like, wife gets beat. It's like, oh, you don't know Tony. He's really loving. Like, when he's not drinking. That's
Yeah,
essentially what people, when people say like, oh, maybe, that the media is just doing their thing. They didn't mean to mislead, or they didn't, maybe, no one proofread the headline or whatever. It's just like battered wife syndrome.
yeah. It's just it's not just like in this case. It's been going on for a long, 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 long time, and I think I think there is obviously like people that are waking up to this, and we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing obviously a lot more like alternate news sites. We're seeing a lot more stuff that's coming out that's with more. It still has its bias, but there's a lot more accurate reporting,
Mm-hmm.
or or at least they're upfront about their bias, and which is a good thing. But yeah, like I said, these guys are not your friends. The New York Times, CNN, Fox News, all these guys, they're not your friends. They're not
Yeah.
reporting. They're not giving you facts. They're giving you fear, and they're giving you fear so that you give up your liberties in times of these crises. and they are the enemy of the it's Trump keeps calling them the enemy of the people, and it's true. To be honest, like obviously like uh that wording has some bad connotations to it, but it's true. They are not pro America. They do not like the Constitution. They do not like the founding of the United States. They don't like what the United States of America stands for. They
Yeah, it's
want
funny.
to
They
just
don't like it, yet they have no problem benefiting from all the systems that have blossomed. Thanks to the American style government.
right. But I'm just saying, it's like as I said, they're not your friends. They don't, people like you and me. They don't like us, Andy. We're Christians. We are conservative. We don't like government. We don't like big bloated government. They don't like you and me. They would rather have us dead. And you especially, with you, like with your handicap, it's like you should have been killed in the womb. Like they definitely don't like you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I'm someone who strives. I'm someone um, who overcomes. Despite the obstacle. I mean, not to be no, to be boastful. My entire life is a testament to the idea of the individual. Striving and accomplishing something for themselves, despite the obstacles, despite the completely pun intended the hand that they were given.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
and
it's
because we're not useful idiots for the Democratic, leftist party. They hate us. They we are not their. They wish that we would not exist.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's yeah. They like Robert, saying that they're not your friends, and I mean, even for the people watching this, don't take us to be some authoritative source of news. This, we have a bias too. And and all we're doing is reporting on news that's already been reported. But we are offering a little, we are offering more context and a little bit, more a tempered, uh, a tempered opinion, but it's still our opinion. Uh, so
Exactly.
so
We don't claim to be a news site. We're not saying that we're not out on the front lines, asking questions and reporting on things and writing articles. So we're
right.
you know we're not a media like source in that way.
Right. I mean, we're almost the same as New York Times, but I think but we're
Well, we're slightly better than them.
well, yeah, no, yeah. I mean, we're like a New York Times, but we are. I would say that we are more balanced, even though we do have a bias, um, because we want and our opinions do our we have a bias. We fully admit that. And we welcome the opportunity to talk and discuss and debate and to wrestle with other ideas to see which one is better than the other and all that good stuff.
But yeah,
So, but don't take what we say, and be like, oh well, the nocturnal transmissions guy, they said that this, that, and the other. It's like, don't take us as an authoritative news source. Take us as a bit, a starting point. A starting point. Take what we said, look into it, and then make your own determinations. Because I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't. I'd be a hypocrite if I said, it's like, oh, don't listen to those guys. Listen to only me. That I'd be a hypocrite.
that's how cults start.
Exactly. Even though I think I'd make a really great cult leader. Just not to be tooting my horn in this area, but I think I'd make a pretty good cult leader.
I think you could probably get everyone to cut off their hands to be just like you.
I could. I totally could. Release yourself of your burdens. You need to cut off your
Your hands are for
hands.
the devil.
Yeah.
Only I can sleep with women. So give your
Yes.
wives to me.
Yes.
As long
The
along with
idle
all your women.
hands are the devil's playthings.
But then also you'd have to wear like a necklace of hands that people have cut off for you.
Yes.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
you would be the your cult would be called the hands would be uh the people of Manos.
Ah, I like it. Those of you who don't know, that's Greek, right? Or Latin?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. The people of Manos.
or Manos of Fate or something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there we go. I've created Andy's cult.
There it is. That's my cult. Yeah, the cult of Manos.
Um,
Oh. See, we
okay,
have fun here. We have fun here. We have fun here.
oh, sorry. All right. So, but I think what I I think there's a lot of people though that are, especially during this time. I think people are starting to wake up to like how really awful the media truly is. Because I think, like I said, like you, more people are actually watching these full press conferences about with like what Trump is saying, like what like, and watching this stuff, and they're like, oh, that's okay. It's we're being serious. We're doing the things that we need to do as a community of people to kind of not spread this thing. But then, like when you go back later in the evening with your Brian Stelters and your Fredo Cuomo and all these guys, and they're yeah, and I'm gonna call him Fredo because I don't give a fuck. Um, uh, and all these guys, and they're cutting these clips. It's like, wait a second, that's not what he said at all. I just watched that thing. It's like that's not what he said. That's and it's yeah, and the thing is though, this has been happening for such a long time. We did that movie review of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and they were pulling this shit back in like '39. Yellow journalism has been around for a long time in this country, and yeah, I think people are waking up that like our mainstream media is it all of it is yellow journalism. It has facts have no place in on Fox, on CNN, on NBC. It has no place there.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I think yellow journalism has been around since founding of civilizations.
Well, that's true, but I mean,
Because
it's
I'm sure,
at
I'm
least
sure, I'm sure Tiresias, in the second century A.D. was, saying some shit about, I don't know, some Roman politician. The mudslinging is not new. And reporting. With a tremendous bias is not new either. But yeah, it's just like we're. I mean, now the technology has come to the point where people can now research primary documents and get things firsthand, like through live. I mean, yeah, I watch. I don't watch. I haven't really sat down to watch like TV, but they stream the press conferences on YouTube. And I get the notification, and that's when I pull out my phone and I start watching. And I'm able to watch primary sources, and and again, not
And,
just me, but yeah, everybody. Um,
but
and yeah, and
it's one of those things.
it's so easy to research now. It's just ridiculous how easy it is.
Well, and what we're finding is like not even a month ago, everyone's like saying like, "Oh, Trump's racist for calling this the Chinese virus," and it's like, and obviously he's saying it's like, well, it came from China. It's like it originated there. So all these other,
China,
yeah.
China.
But the thing is, like,
I like how it
with
says
with
China
that,
with that emphasis.
China,
China,
you know,
China, China.
but it's and the thing is, not he wasn't blaming. It's like, oh, it's Chinese people that caused this. No, that's not what he's saying. It's the government that was over there that created this problem. They didn't.
Right, yeah.
They
And I
knew
mean,
they
it's
had a
just
problem,
the
but instead of they killed the people that were talking about it. So, that's the Chinese government that created this problem when it could have been a lot like,
right, and like yeah, and like our media is running flag for them because it's like
but not
oh well,
but not
China's reduced their number of cases, and China is
no,
and it's like oh they're saying that they've only had this many cases. It's like they they they've killed whistleblowers. They kill off whistleblowers. Let's not be naive about that. They killed off whistleblowers. And they had samples of the virus destroyed, like fact. And so like you're saying that you want, and like now you're like spouting their talking points, and like and like
when not
and
not
you
you
want
know
to trust that the numbers that they're giving us.
when not 2 months ago, and because we actually have video evidence of them saying this stuff. It's like they're calling it the Wuhan virus, or they're calling it it's the China
Yeah,
virus,
Chinese
or all this stuff.
coronavirus.
And it's not just like one person said it, it's all these mainstream media hosts that were calling it
Yeah,
this.
like
But then
CNN, MSNBC, NBC. Yeah, they were all saying it. I mean, Fox News are saying it too. So it doesn't matter. So everyone was saying it. You can't just say we're not just saying that it was only like the media out there. It's like it was everybody. Everyone was saying it.
yeah, because that's where it came from. And
And yeah, that's the
usually where
nomenclature. That's the
viruses
nomenclature.
originate, we call it from the place it originates from. But no,
Yeah,
now
right.
now all of a sudden, because Trump used it, it's racist.
Right. Is Lyme disease
And
racist against people from Connecticut, from Lyme, Connecticut? That's where Lyme disease first was diagnosed.
exactly, exactly,
Or
exactly. It's so stupid. Or
yeah,
and it's
or
like, and the thing is, it's like,
The Ebola River in freaking the Congo, or Zika virus. That's from the Zika forest in Uganda, or West Nile again from the West Nile region in Uganda. Is that racist? Is that because I don't remember anyone freaking out and saying that calling it West Nile virus was racist towards against black people. Or
yeah,
Hong Kong flu from the from '68.
yeah,
No one was saying it was
it,
racist to Chinese people back then.
exactly. It's so ridiculous. It's like, and to be honest, I implore everyone here, stop, stop watching these people. It's stop giving them the attention that they so desperately want.